American values include freedom, equality, democracy, the rule of law, and individual opportunity, particularly for education. These are concepts that have held us together as a nation for over 230 years and have led to the idea of the American dream. And yet, our society's discourse can often be more about valuing differences than our commonality. I always believe that what makes this society great is the richness of our diversity and the many people from all parts of the world that make up our population. It is both important and appropriate that we preserve the multiple colors and characteristics that make our country so special. At Pacific, we do this through our curriculum, through the study of culture, through our multi-faith traditions, through our clubs, our international center, and the like. It's why we encourage our students to study abroad, to learn about other countries, and to look at the United States through the eyes of others, and why we encourage international students and welcome them to Pacific so that we can learn from them and they can learn from us, and why we seek to double our international student enrollment and to increase the number of our students studying abroad. The simple fact still is, Americans do share values in common. This year, in a survey of the American electorate conducted by the Center for American Progress, respondents were asked to choose 2 American political values that were important to them. 42% of the respondents chose liberty, closely followed by opportunity, justice, and equality. The survey also clearly demonstrated that these values are not the exclusive domain of the right wing or the left, but they characterize the common views of a diverse society that still agrees on many things. These are also the values the world admires most about America, and that many other countries seek to emulate because they represent aspirational, universal values, as stated in the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights. For many years, I've been an avid reader of books on American history, particularly biographies of America's great leaders. I find Abraham Lincoln to be one of the most inspirational leaders this country and the world has ever had, someone whose leadership model has influenced my own. He had challenges at every turn in his life, but he led our nation through what was considered the most difficult period in its history, a period in which unity and American identity were at stake. Why was Lincoln such an effective leader? Of course, we know he was an exceptionally talented thinker and communicator, but he used his intellectual gifts in an emotionally intelligent way, and he had strong values that provided his moral compass. In February, we celebrated the 200th anniversary of his birth. He was born in such humble beginnings, and we all know the story. Born in a log cabin, his mother died when he was 9 years old. His father frowned upon his love of reading and discouraged him from schooling beyond the 2nd grade. But Lincoln was self-motivated. He didn't have strong role models as a child. He found his role models through books, through the strong characters in literature whose personalities he sought to understand and whose strengths he sought to emulate. Lincoln had self-awareness. He knew what his strengths and weaknesses were. He was insightful about the abilities of others. He knew he was not an expert in every area of government, and he knew he would be a better president by surrounding himself with talented people, even those that had been his political rivals. Because of this emotional intelligence, as labeled by Doris Kearns Goodwin in her acclaimed Team of Rivals, Lincoln did not feel threatened by them. Lincoln also led with empathy. This was especially apparent in his handling of the Civil War and the issue of slavery. He was keenly reflective about the impact of the war on families and individuals. And while he always sought to do what would unify the country, he had great compassion for the enemy, the prisoner of war, the families of those killed or injured. Lincoln formed early judgments about slavery, not just on an intellectual level, but on an emotional level. He understood the humiliation of slaves and committed himself to eliminating the contradiction between the institution of slavery and the American ideal of equality. Finally, Lincoln was unshakable in his belief in our country's democratic form of government, of the people, by the people, and for the people, and he believed it was a model for the world. And he could not let this crumble, despite the extraordinary differences among people, their opinions and their beliefs. Liberty, opportunity, justice, equality, these were Lincoln's values. These were my parents' values. These are still our common values today. No matter what your political views may be, it's hard to disagree that the last presidential election in this country demonstrated a uniquely American spirit of hope and empowerment. Many of you voted for the first time in November. It is through democratic elections that we participate in how we are governed and how we demonstrate that the views of individuals and minority groups are important. Yes, we have many issues to overcome to ensure equality and opportunity of all individuals and all groups. But what makes us great as a nation is our ability to celebrate and take advantage of our differences while retaining and cherishing our core American values. We know that the term melting pot may have been discredited by many in our society, and other terms have been proposed for the American immigrant experience. Yet the term retains an important and valuable aspiration, and that is that the best of American values continue to be sought, learned, held in common by peoples of all backgrounds from the earliest years of our founding. This same shared experience, whether you call it a melting pot or not, is also what we value about our Pacific experience. Undoubtedly, much of what you have learned here, you have learned from the people in this diverse community around you. And I assure you others, including your professors and me, have learned much from you. It has been my special privilege to serve the university and work in this remarkable community in advancing Pacific toward our common goals and our even higher aspirations. I'm proud of what we have accomplished together. At the same time, I have been shaped and forever changed by my time here, just as you have been shaped and forever changed. As you and I both leave our home campus, I encourage you to remain connected to Pacific, as I always will be. Continue to learn throughout your life. Remember that history, literature, and the people around us can be our most dynamic and influential teachers. Don't be afraid to talk about the values that bind us together as a community and as a country. These values have lasted the test of 230 years and must continue to be the guiding principles for us as we do good in our nation and the world. Pacific encourages you to continue to develop your awareness of self, your purpose, and your calling. Pacific prepared you for the next step you'll take. You'll have the opportunity to bring others together, holding common values and seeking positive change. You will make Pacific proud as you soar in your lives, and in turn, as alumni, you will always be proud of Pacific. Thank you.